Welcome to Rectified Radio. From the latest in crypto news to educating the public, we aim to fight FUD and have fun talking blockchain. Fun segments, interactive guests, and more. This is Rectified Radio. Powered by Vibravid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our special Vibravid review episode here on the Rectified Radio podcast. I hope everyone is doing just fine. Before I go ahead and introduce Steven, our founder, I just want to take a moment to thank all of those in the space that have been very helpful for us. When you get into crypto, there's a huge learning curve that seems inaccessible for some, but really it's all about having that right connection or those right connections and support system. So special thanks goes out to those in the Beatzcoin community, especially those in our VIP Telegram room. Also our friends over at Sis and Matic. You guys have been a tremendous help and involved actively in our resurgence as we look to make another push to becoming a strong, scalable platform that solves many issues in the content creation space and exposes new people to blockchain. So without further ado, I'll introduce our founder, Steven Zambron. How's it going, man?
Very well, Alex. Glad to be here. I'm glad we could finally get this podcast going, and I'm excited to see what kind of questions we have.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties over the weekend, so we couldn't get it done, and we've been really busy. And I know a lot of people are asking questions. So we have the new white paper that came out. We have a new roadmap that we're following. Really, a lot of things have changed since we first started Beatzcoin. And I'm pretty excited because it shows how we can adapt and survive. Because if you look at the way things have gone in crypto, a lot of projects went completely dead. But here we are, we're hustling, trying hard, and finding new innovations that we plan to put in place. So I'm super excited about that. And in general, it's just an amazing time because we've got rampant censorship going on. So people are looking for a platform like Vibravid to be able to take advantage. I know you and me, when we first did a podcast, maybe almost 2 years ago now, we were really focused on the music side of things, which is still very important. But now, dude, there's just so much censorship going on these last 2 years. And you can't seem to watch a video. Anytime somebody sends me a link to YouTube, they're like, hurry up and watch this before it's gone. It's unbelievable. So it's a golden opportunity for us.
It is, and there's only a handful of projects taking on this sector. We've had a lot of work to do, and as you said, we've had to adapt and learn from a lot of things. Some were mistakes, some were simply just the need to flow with what's going on in the industry, not only the blockchain industry, but what's going on in the, as you said, the video and music side of things. And I think we're getting to a point where we're really becoming a contender in the space now, and we're not far off from really taking a hold on things.
What would you say, question that kind of everyone would probably want to know as a entrepreneur in the blockchain space? What are the most important things that you've learned since being in the space from the business side of things? So like if you were, advising someone who's brand spanking new coming in with their own project, what would you tell them?
This is really valuable information. You know what I mean? It's something I certainly didn't have. We didn't have. We kind of had to, for the most part, learn through experience. And first and foremost, it takes a strong community. You have to have people that believe in what you're doing, and you have to, sooner than later, put out some type of product that people can see. The hype factor and just having a white paper did work well for some projects, most of which don't even exist anymore. But that people want to see some action and have a reason to believe in what you say you're going to do. And then second to that, I think, would be money. It's money is a key factor, but of course, I mean, with a large community, the money will come. But yeah, every single move you make in each direction you go in this space, it costs money to do everything, whether it's putting a news article out to a tier 1, tier 2 publication, or whether it's getting an exchange listing. Very difficult. So, I mean, community and money are two things you definitely need. And of course, that's taking for granted that you have a great idea that's innovative, and you're complementing that idea with the proper technologies and using them.
Absolutely, man. There have been many instances where we have learned the hard way, and there's been many instances where we've avoided getting pretty much screwed. But
Right.
we know crypto is a huge money grab. We've made it public already how we directly got scammed by ABCC and their quote unquote token trading event. And it's hard to pursue legal action in this industry as well. But
It is. There's a lot of these companies are shell companies stacked on top of shell companies. And of course, unless you're a multi-million-dollar company, it's really hard to gather the resources needed to actually file a claim against anyone in the space. But just to clarify and briefly discuss that to anyone who's listening, we did have a major trading event with ABCC. What was that, at the late last year, I believe?
yeah, October-ish of last year.
40 million Beatzcoin were part of the prize pool. And it just turned out that when we took a look at the withdrawals and the movement of those tokens, they went to like 4 different addresses and were all sold on DEXs and DEX exchanges. And the only evidence we can go on is what the blockchain says, and the blockchain doesn't lie. When you have a prize pool that large, and I believe, without looking, I think the total number of placement winners was, I think, 20, if not more, and it seemed that only 4 amounts were transferred out. So, and again, all sold. So it was very unfortunate, and that was a big turning point for us as a project as well, and not in the proper direction. It caused a major dump, and it seemed to the downtrend seemed to continue from there for months and months, and we're still in recovery mode right now.
Right. And then whenever you have downward price movement, people start egging on, people start fudding.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had, our issues with development teams and things like that, which we've recovered from. But, things move so freaking fast in crypto. And, 1 month, it feels like 6 months in this space. So right. I could see why people get so desperate. So that's an advice I would personally give. Just realize that the crypto space moves really fast. But not to focus on the negative, and let's go straight into the positive, because these last few months have felt like a resurgence from a business perspective and from an emotional perspective as, core workers for the team. It's been great to develop relationships with Matic and with Syscoin. I have never seen, because we're used to Tron, who are, no offense, but pretty inaccessible. They've gotten a little bit better, but they're nowhere near as accessible as Matic with Sandeep, available for calls. Jag over at Sys, and the rest of the teams there, they have been a tremendous help in helping us kind of rebound, and we're using their tech now, and I'm super excited about it, man. So why don't we start kind of talking about the tech side of things? We won't get too techy per se, but just kind of explain people why we're not necessarily moving away from Tron, which you made that very clear, but we're incorporating some chains that are really going to help Vibravid go next level.
Yeah, to complement your point, our Arjun from Matic this morning sent a message over in response to that, and he said, and I'll quote, the way we see it, if the dApps on our platform, Matic, succeed, we succeed. So we try and help all of our partners and dApps with getting the word out and keeping the audiences engaged, unquote. Um, and that's what it's all about. And it's a real blessing for us to be in the position that we're in right now. Again, focusing on the positive, but you know, we hit a wall at one point where we knew as a team and as a project that if we didn't make some necessary and needed changes right away, there was no telling where the project was heading, you know. And as of right now, it's looking great. Everything's falling into place. We've had to change some of our goals, some of our targets, our roadmap. Uh, Everyone will see that we just released a new version of our white paper, and development's going well again and back on track. So yeah, everything's looking good.
Yeah, I was introduced to Jag from Sis, man, months ago, and I would honestly just pick his brain. I never committed to doing anything with Vibravid with them, and he didn't really sell it too hard. He was just there to give information. So you could tell he's a true, crypto blockchain patron who wants to, better the system, and he knows his product is good. So with Syschain using their bridge, and in the future with other I can't even say that word, interoperability with other features, once we scale, and you're talking about fees, transactions, and things like that, they become a really huge solution. And then we have the solution that Matic provides, because let's be frank, although Tron is fast, they don't have the same legitimacy yet that Ethereum provides.
Right.
And that layer 2 solution that Matic has is fantastic, because you can do so much while being in that Ethereum ecosystem. So that's why we created the ERC token. That's why we're pretty much branching into a multi-chain approach.
Right, exactly. And you know, Tron aside, because I don't want it to turn into or make it seem like that we're bashing Tron or leaving Tron, but you know, that's I've seen some of that sentiment floating around. And that's not even the case. It's not about Tron. It's about Beatzcoin. It's about Vibravid and what we need to do as a project. Not one time have I or anyone ever said we're leaving Tron. Vibravid is still going to use Tron. TRC10 tokens are our original token, and you know, it's a matter of branching out, creating more resources, taking advantage of more resources. And it's just something we have to do at this point.
So enough about the technology. Let's talk a little bit about the business and the adaptations that we've had to make, because from 2018 to now, we've seen social platforms do well and not do so well. And I've listened to a lot of feedback as far as decentralized social platforms on what works and what doesn't work. You should expect to be able to get a fair share of users just because of all the censorship going on. But another thing that we've realized is how a platform needs to be, of course, user friendly, but how we also need to have the necessary features to give proper incentivation to the users and to the content creators. So that's why we have decided to really take a centralized approach when it comes to income that's generated on the platform, because it's just easier and it's able to attract more people. Because once you tell them, hey, put your single out here and you can earn a ton of Beatzcoin, what the heck is Beatzcoin? What if the value goes down? There's a lot of unsure aspects of it. But when you tell them, hey, you can make dollars and cents for this, And then, oh, I made dollars and cents. Hey, I could have made more dollars and cents if I hold this thing called Beatzcoin. Now we're starting to talk. And
Right.
that is really going to attract people into the blockchain and crypto space, which was our goal from the get-go. But I think it's naive to really believe that a token economy alone will suffice in creating, self-sustaining revenue for a platform or business. So that's the reason why we've taken that approach.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's a lot of uncertainty, but I think as you said, we're providing a lot of security in addressing those problems. And we still go back to the same problem, which was basically the genesis of this project, is that people need views and people need people to listen to their music, and
Amen.
people need to be paid for their work. This goes back to expanding the token into these different blockchains, because a lot of people might say, oh, Vibravid, that's a cool little platform I can put my videos on. And then, there's a lot of maximalists in the space. People can't deny that. There's a lot of diehard cultish-like groups, where some simply just will not use or be bothered with Tron, for example, just because it's Tron. Or there's some people that will not use Ethereum just because it's Ethereum, slow, clunky, blah, 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 high fees, and it's just what it is. But what we're doing here is we're creating solutions for that. That's why, rather than using Ethereum on Vibravid, we would be using a Matic version of Beatzcoin, or we would be using our SPT token from Syscoin. So we're creating solutions as we're expanding, and I think that's very important, and that in itself will attract more users and more interest for the token and the project overall.
Right, I agree 100%. So before we start answering a few questions that our followers had of the project, I want to talk about what I'm super excited about, which is our DeFi component on Vibravid. We always thought of the importance of being able to support content creators. And then you had this whole DeFi boom, which is something we really want to take advantage of, because decentralized finance has a lot of aspects that can really change things. So
Right.
how do you feel about this new kind of like Patreon thing that we're going to build? How do you feel this can impact Vibravid as a whole, having a feature like this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a major aspect of the platform itself. See, because basically what we're doing is creating a situation where the user can support their favorite artist on Vibravid by taking advantage of decentralized finance. So basically, what they'll be doing is putting up a certain number of tokens into a liquidity pool, and any profits that are derived from that, they will be essentially sharing with the person that they choose to support. And these models are working very well for things like Patreon and others. And we just feel that, it not only does it help the artist, or the video content creator, it also helps the user, because now they're not necessarily coming out of their pocket and they're still able to support their favorite artist.
Right. It's just a whole nother option that doesn't exist in these traditional platforms. But having a Patreon-like platform on blockchain, incorporating cryptos, will really help bring, people who are influential into that space. So that's why we're really excited about that, because we feel like we're doing something to bring more people in general to the blockchain space. Doesn't matter what, sector, interest, or type of content that they produce.
Right, exactly.
So realistically, we're looking at beginning that work in the beginning of Q1 of 2021. We may get started with it in December if things go very well, which hopefully it will. But let's go and kind of go over some questions that people have been asking. Brian asks, member of our group here. He's asking about how the supply will work, because as of right now, you've got your Beatzcoin TRC token and your ERC Beatzcoin token. So together it looks like there's 6 million. And then we've used the CIS bridge. Can you explain that? It's not just a matter of creating more tokens out of thin air to use all those tokens, but this was designed with a very specific purpose. Can you elaborate on that?
Right. So if we go into the white paper, and you can basically go over, obviously, the Tron TRC10 Beatzcoin token allocations, and we also have a diagram that explains the ERC20 Beatzcoin token allocations. The challenge for us as a project right now is that there is no particular bridge available for Tron at this point to move from one blockchain to another. So we can't obviously create an instant bridge between, for example, Tron-based Beatzcoin over to CIS or Ethereum or Matic or what have you. But what we're doing there is we have allocations from these supplies that are created, Ethereum, for example, that will cover the swap. And on the surface, it might seem complicated, but for example, when using Beatzcoin SPT on CIS, that amount, the amounts that get transferred between CIS and Ethereum, the balances are reduced and added to as the tokens are switched over between chains. We don't have that for Tron at this point, which we will be developing. So in essence, we're not continuously creating another 3 billion tokens here, another 3 billion tokens there. What is required to utilize a bridge is to create a token on that blockchain, whether it's CIS, whether it's Matic, whether it's BEP2, Tron. You have to have a token, and then that token is obviously being represented on the other blockchain. And all we're doing here is utilizing bridges to move from one blockchain to another. So essentially, although on the surface it seems like we have billions of tokens everywhere, they're all accounted for, and they're simply being used to move from one blockchain to another.
Right, and the goal would be that no matter which type of token you're using on Vibravid, it should work seamlessly. So you'll still collect your tokens, and then when you withdraw and then want to sell some Beatzcoin, or you're going to buy it, that's a different story. But the actual process of using Beatzcoin on Vibravid should not matter. The next question that we got was from Singarius. He's part of our VIP room in Telegram. I hope I said your name right, buddy. He says, how and when will staking work? I can answer this one partially, and if you want to help me out with that. We've got some complex models, but really to get it up sooner, we're really drafting up something very simple. We talked about that with Dallas, what was it, yesterday or the day before? And when? Well, we're aiming for Q4, right? If everything goes well, maybe a little bit sooner.
Correct. We're actually at a sooner the better stance at this time.
Right. It's definitely on the prioritized list. And right now it'll just be for Beatzcoin staking, because the goal here is to really attract people into Beatzcoin with some heavy returns on the first year and get Beatzcoin its popularity. But long term, we feel that we add value through in-platform benefits, additional ad revenue. That's why people will stake Beatzcoin. And in the future, it'll be less of a Beatzcoin APR that people will get. So this will probably only be like a 1-year thing if everything goes to plan there.
Right, and I couldn't add much more to that. The additional benefits that users will see, especially when ad revenue is implemented, in a deflationary APR as time goes on. Everything should complement each other and work out well for our staking program.
Right. And to talk a little bit about ad revenue, there's not ads yet in the site. We do want to get to a scaling point because that's something that we'll want to work up with a partner for, because ads are very complex when it comes to monetization. So
Right.
with more users, you have more page views and more, opportunities to insert ads and things like that. So we do plan to take advantage of, legacy features when it comes to that. That's why we don't say that we're 100% decentralized. We're, a hybrid decentralized, you could say, because at the end of the day, if y'all want to make money, we got to have people to give us money, and ad revenue is probably the best resource for that.
Right.
But going on, our other question from Simon says, Simon, he asks, what are the swap timelines? I know some people were worried about, not being able to move their TRC Beatzcoin if their ERC Beatzcoin were to be like for instance, let's say, regular Beatzcoin is at 1/10 of a cent, and then the ERC Beatzcoin is like at 1 cent. They'd be upset about that. Obviously, we're trying to raise funds, so we're going to have a brief period where we're only selling and releasing a certain amount of tokens for a fundraiser, but we do plan on making a not a bridge, because that's not available yet, but sort of a swap feature where we'll need to have a swap wallet and be able to hold the TRC tokens in case anyone wants to be able to switch back. And that shouldn't be too difficult, but we do plan on having that available the month following after we do our fundraising.
And just to add to that, I've been diligent about, we received more than a dozen quotes and timelines and proposals so far in regards to the swap mechanism, and for sure we will definitely plan to have that available for our users as soon as possible.
Fantastic, man. Well, I think that covers most of it. I really think that we should also do a Telegram AMA here in the near future, so people can just go in and ask their questions. We'd be happy to do that. We wanted you guys to hear our voices so you can see what exactly we have going on.
One other thing as a last note that I wanted to touch on, I had someone ask me yesterday, is like, why would I want to swap my Beatzcoin? And they're referencing, of course, to TRC10 Beatzcoin for ERC20 Beatzcoin. And I thought that was a great question, because even recently myself experiencing some of the gas fees and congestion on Ethereum right now, it is rather crazy. So, but the other side to that is, if you wanted to take advantage of, for instance, other chains that Beatzcoin is developed on, then that might be something you want to do. And no one's forcing anybody to swap anything. I mean, some people might just use Sys Beatzcoin or, etc. But what it does there is, obviously TRC10 Beatzcoin, we can't be listed on certain Ethereum-based dexes. I'm sure Syscoin is going to be having some sort of decentralized exchange eventually for SPT tokens. Possibly the same with Matic. So I mean, what we're doing here is creating more and more opportunities for everyone involved. So there might become a point in time where there's also arbitrage opportunities where people might want to move from one blockchain to another to take advantage of these arbitrage opportunities. And again, as well as exchanging. And as far as Vibravid goes, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty much business as usual on Vibravid. These different chains and the tokens themselves should not affect any performance issues on Vibravid.
Absolutely. Thanks for clearing that up. So, man, it was great taking a few minutes here to talk about what we have going on. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and we're excited at the news that we have coming up. So we're going to have a lot of press and a lot of attention. And at the same time, the platform is developing. We should have the new UI interface as far as like your home and your dashboard. That should be up within the next couple days. And there's definitely always going to be a lot of things to tweak. You know, I heard someone complaining that they said that the UI looked like a middle schooler UI. I'm like, man, get out of here. It's crazy how many haters you'll get. And I like the message that you sent back. Like, this is how eBay looked when it first started. And even YouTube, man. YouTube changes their UI all the time when they identify that something could look or be better from a experience standpoint. And that's something we'll always do. So right now we're just focused on functionality and excellent features. And, you know, as it comes requested and as we see the opportunities, we will enhance certain things or change certain looks. But we're definitely on the right track. If you look at where Vibravid was when the MVP got launched to now, it's a complete night and day difference.
I agree. It's like anything else. You only get better with time, and we can't develop everything at once and throw everything into a pile and get it done. You know, certain things have to be worked on here and there, and by the time we get that far along, then we realize, well, we need to put attention back on this and get that tweaked to where it needs to be. So it's a process, but I'm fairly happy with where we're at right now as far as the UI and UX.
All right, man. So we've got a little more work to do today.
Oh yeah.
We got some exchanges to work with, and then I've got a call with our merchandise partner. So we're working, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back with another episode.
All right, Alex. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Rectified Radio Podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode, and make sure to check us out on Vibravid.io for exclusive content. Peace.
I'm just about that action, boss.